Okay, so we are going to discuss a question that I keep getting asked quite often in my comment section. And, if you've seen this before, and I have showed this exact video before, you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. So, this person here, he was very kind with me because he asked me a question, and then I asked him if he wanted me to clarify. He said yes, so I'm going to be respectful. Remember, I give the same energy that people give me. And he says the country of Colombia still has legal prostitution. If they cared so much, why is it still legal? Well, I'm going to explain to you why. For the very exact thing that's happening behind me. So let me just move this. So it so happens that the reason why it's legal is for the same reason why it's legal in the Netherlands, and it's the same reason why it's legal in Germany and in certain parts of Europe. For the fact that this has to do with the protection of the adult service worker. Now, if you see what's going on behind me, you'll see that there's a situation. The lady to my left, was it my left? This is right. Yeah, the lady to my left. Probably you're right, because the screen has it switched around. You have a lady who is complaining that the man in the yellow did not pay her for her services. And if you can see here, if you look closely, it's a trans woman. She was not born. She was not born genetically a woman. That's a man who is a trans woman. So the thing is you need to understand is that many people marched in Colombia. Many people try to fight for the rights of adult services workers to have protections. And what are these protections? If you do not pay her, you're going to go to jail. If you hit her or him, you are going to go to jail, because not just men and women, and not just trans, but including men, also are adult services workers. Itchy. I was itchy. And also, if you hit them, if you belittle them, if you try to disrespect them, you can also face legal consequences. If you agreed on a certain price before, and then you all of a sudden change near the end, then you will also go to jail. They have access to health care. They can go to a doctor. They can see, reproductive health. If they're genetically born a woman, they can go get themselves checked out for STDs, and they don't have to worry about being mistreated, disrespected, or pushed aside, especially the people of the trans and gay community, because they have always traditionally been throughout the world, been the people who have been mistreated the most. I would also like to point out that Colombians are not angry at the fact that prostitution exists. We are angry at certain people who try go to our country, use it as a destination for sex tourism, and then multiple illegal things happen, such as the deletion of Valentina Tres Palacios, who I keep on talking about multiple times. This was a situation that shook the country to its core and started looking at foreigners. Ms. Valentina Tres Palacios is not an adult services worker. She was a DJ. She met a white passport bro. Mr. White Passport Bro, whose son had cancer. His son, because he had cancer, he managed to get funds and to remove certain tumors from his body. And Mr. Passport Bro, who doesn't understand that he's a goofball, travels all the way down to Colombia and uses his Passport Bro money to give lavish gifts to Ms. Valentina Tres Palacios. But because he doesn't understand that a lame in the United States is also a lame in Colombia, he found out through a detective that she was using his Passport Bro money to gift to the real. So, no, we're not mad that prostitution exists. We are mad that people, men, 99.999% of the time, cannot control themselves and are doing illegal things in Colombia. If you delete a woman, that is illegal and that is immoral. Okay, if you touch a little kid, that is illegal and that is also immoral. If you're having intercourse on a balcony, like it's been happening in Cartagena quite a few times, because you don't care about the local culture, with little children walking by, with nuns and priests walking by, that is also immoral. And time again, I keep seeing the same thing. Well, why don't you, if you don't like it so much, well, why do you make it illegal? Because it is for the protection of the adult services worker. That is the reason. And if you hate it so much in Colombia, why don't you guys go to Germany? In Germany, it is also legal and has better protections for both the women and also for the men who are searching for the women, and all the men who are searching for the transgender. Why don't you guys go to the Netherlands? And I'll tell you exactly why. Because this is a power struggle. Because this is a power play. Because the American dollar is way more powerful to the Colombian peso than it will be to the franc or whatever type of currency currency they use in Germany and the Netherlands. That is the reason why. So why is it that you guys always deflect and divert, saying, well, if it bothers you so much, then why don't you get rid of it? Because Colombia does not want to get rid of it, because Colombia recognizes that human beings, even though they may do what is considered immoral by society, we consider them to be human beings that deserve respect and dignity and protection from violence and being disrespected, and also from their money being. And I'm going to go back to a video that I saw a long time ago with Mr. Austin Holloman. Mr. Austin Holloman was in Brazil. And I'm going to tell you this because I saw it with my own very own eyes. Mr. Austin Holloman was interviewing a North American man who had went to Brazil. And guess what happened? This person was telling Austin Holloman that he contracted an adult services worker and that he didn't want to pay her the money that he agreed upon, the 100 reais, because he told her to her face that she was always going to be a third world four-letter word. You guys can put that together. Personally, I think that is abuse. So once again, why does not Colombia get rid of prostitution as a right to work? Because we agree that they are human beings and that they deserve to have protections from violence, protections from people stealing, protections from people belittling. And the Colombian mindset has always been this: just because something is legally acceptable doesn't mean that it's morally acceptable. And in Colombian society, before the passport bros started coming by, or the before the American tourists started coming by, because they realized that it was legal, okay, it has always been relegated to red tolerance zones, away from schools, away from little children, away from families, away from churches, away from places of worship. And that's something that had to be done in private. But unfortunately, the ever knowing, all powerful colonialist doesn't understand that, because the all powerful colonialist thinks that the world has to kowtow to him. No, we are not going to change that for you. But at the same time, we're not going to allow the public debauchery. So on one hand, you got men who are deleting men, women, transgenders, and at the same time touching little kids. And we are fed up with it. Now, if you want to go back to what I was talking about originally with the other previous, certain influencers have been coming to Colombia, and certain influencers thought they could be slick. Certain influencers thought that they could go run around and do things indirectly. Okay, but the Colombian government is smart, because even though you're doing things indirectly, you're still doing things directly. And I'm not going to mention names because I know Mr. What's his name probably watches my video, and he's probably going to go into my comment section. And if you do come into my comment section, I know some things about you that people don't know, so don't come into my section trying to harass. The government specifically says that while adult services workers are legal, promotion of it is illegal. So you can tell me and say, well, I didn't know they had women in there. You're in Parquilleras, a park known for that. Don't give me that. There's plenty of other clubs everywhere. And then there's the other two knuckleheads, the other two passport bro knuckleheads who are defending Mr. Casey Redbeard, a man who is infamously known to have ex-parties in Colombia, who got arrested, who had multiple searches, who got deported by the government, and multiple news agencies looked into his parties and found out that he had underage people there. And he went to Brazil, and in Brazil they didn't like him either. And in Brazil they were complaining about the same things, about the ex-parties, and him talking about that he likes him young, like a certain rich person who had a little private island somewhere, I don't know, off the coast of Florida. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Here we have another case. The other case that you saw before was in Barranquilla at a motel. This was at Barranquilla at a motel. This was in public space. And the person did not want to pay the transgender. And the police were telling him, say, hey, you got to pay him. I can show you many videos of both men, women, and including transgenders fighting over money because they gave services and the person does not want to pay. If you do not pay them, you will go to jail. That's the thing. So no, we're not going to change the law. And if you do not know how to behave and act like a decent human being, you're going to get deported. So for you people out there, stop touching little kids. Stop misbehaving in public. Okay? Don't do things that are illegal in Colombia that are considered illegal in the United States. Because I'm not sure if you know this, the United States, if they want to, they can still prosecute you, even though it is considered legal in Colombia. For certain things, I'm not going to go into that because I've been fighting with certain passport roles who keep trying to push an issue. And trust me, when the time comes, because I've been busy with work, because I have an actual life, I will be getting in contact with the government. So now that I spent 9 minutes and 29 seconds talking about this, I hope you can understand. And I also have another person, because I keep getting asked the same question over and over and over. Why don't they make it illegal? It is for the protection of the adult service worker, protection from violence, protection from being robbed. So it gives them, grants them access to lots of other things, like access to health.